Hi guys, welcome to Sourcing Classes. This is Hima Hegde presenting before you a video session on the anthropology related current affairs. To begin with, let us look at the topics under light for the week. The week as in 21st of June to 26th of June. Here we have archaeology and the subtopics under the same, followed by the tribal affairs, then physical or the biological anthropology, and then the socio-cultural anthropology. The brief elaboration or the detailed elaboration for each of the subtopics mentioned will be found in the A&D document, that is the Anthropology News Diary, that is being uploaded on a regular basis on the official Sourcing Classes website, that is www.sourcingclasses.com. Do pay a visit. So coming to the topics under light for today, we have the Tangkhul tribe, the African apes and range laws, race and synthetic biology. So firstly, we have the Tangkhul tribe. The Tangkhul tribe. The heritage of tribal arts and crafts is not a free-flowing expression of an individual creativity but an intellectually processed expression accepted by collective beliefs. The Tangkhul tribe is one of the largest tribes of Manipur. It is one of the largest tribes of Manipur and they have been known for distinct traditions and cultures of their own. The Tangkhul tribe are living in the Indo-Burma border area, that is the Indo-Myanmar border area, occupying the Ukhrul district of Manipur and Somra Tangkhul hills in Upper Myanmar. It is believed that they came to Manipur from China through Myanmar. According to the Greek astronomer and geographer, the Tangkhuls were believed to be settled in Samshok, that is a place in Myanmar, and they began to disperse from Samshok into different directions. Now, according to the elders of the community, the term Tangkhul is derived from the Meitei dialect. That is the largest ethnic group of Manipur. The Meitei is the largest ethnic group of Manipur. So Tangkhul is a combination of the words Tada and Khul, where Tada means elder brother, and the traditional textiles of Tangkhul can be broadly classified as unisex textiles. Now the male, that is upper and lower garments, and female, that is upper and lower garments. All the costumes consisted of draped garments. Little or no stitching was done. Draping required considerable expertise to make it. Now Khul means village. Therefore, Tangkhul means the village of the elder brother. It means the village of the elder brother. The Tangkhul tribe has legendary textile heritage. It has legendary textile heritage in terms of traditional costumes, colors, specific design and motifs with significance and symbolism. The traditional textiles of the tribe are not only derived from environmental physiology but also mark the socio-cultural meanings that reveal the societal norms. They reflect age, sex, social status and sacred or profane activities which appear in various contexts. Both married and unmarried women were engaged in the art of weaving. They made the requirement of the family for everyday use and for ceremonial wear. Traditionally, it was considered to be one of the basic skills to be learnt by a woman before getting married. Now cotton was the most preferred yarn to weave their fabrics. In earlier times, most of the Tangkhul villages not only wove cotton cloth but also cultivated cotton and spun it into yarn. Red, black and white colors were dominantly used on their textiles as a base. Colors such as green, blue, yellow or orange were used for designing motifs, that is the decorative patterns basically. Earlier, the tribe people followed a dyeing process. That is the coloring process. which was made available using naturally available materials such as fruits, barks and roots of different trees, clays and mud. They made the color combinations ideally suited for the hill environment. They used the dye to hand spun cotton yarn for their weaving, as well as the cane, bamboo stalk or animal hair for the accessories. Now the traditional textile classification is already seen, and the chief garments were shawls. The chief garments were shawls, and the sarong's kachon. The sarong's kachon is a shawl and kashan is a female sarong in Tangchul. One of the famous shawls among the Tangkul youths is the Chongkam Kachon. The Chongkam Kachon. It is woven in a red base with broad black colored stripes. The shawl can be worn by the first youngest or the second youngest male member of the family. It was also used as an overgarment by unmarried women folk. Moving on, we have African apes and range loss. So let us first look into the context. A new study predicts a massive range declines of Africa's greatest apes. They would be gorillas, chimpanzees and bonobos, due to the impacts of climate change, land use changes and human population growth. Now coming to the highlights of the same, for their analysis, the authors compiled information on the African ape occurrence held in the IUCN SSC Apes database. Now what is this? It is a repository that includes a remarkable amount of information on the population status, threats and conservation for several hundred sites collected over 20 years. The first of its kind study quantifies the joint effects of climate, land use and human population change across the African population. Now this is for the year human population changes across African ape ranges for the year 2050 under best and worst case scenarios. Now the best case implies slowly declining carbon emissions and that appropriate mitigation measures will be put into place. Now the worst case assumes that the emissions continue to increase or they continue to increase unchecked business as usual. Under the best case scenario, the authors predict that the great apes will lose 85% of their range, of which 50% will be outside the national parks and other areas protected by the legislation. This paper examines whether great apes can or cannot disperse away from where they are currently found, and the best and worst case scenarios in each case. For example, mountains are currently less suitable than lowland areas for some of the great ape species. However, climate change will render from some of the lowlands. Climate change will render some of the lowlands which are suitable, that is warmer, drier, perhaps less food available, but the nearby mountains will take on the characteristics that these lowlands currently have. If great apes were able to physically move from the lowlands to the mountains, they may be able to survive and even increase their range, that is depending on the species and whether it is the best or the worst case scenario. However, they may not be able to travel, that is disperse away from the lowlands in the time remaining between today and 2050. The study highlights the need for urgent action to combat both biodiversity loss and climate change if great apes are continued into the future, to the future. Government must protect and conserve the habitats of the great apes. Governments must protect them and where they are now and where they will need to move. That is the habitat basically. The results of the study corroborate the other recent studies showing that African ape populations and their habitats are declining dramatically. They have come to declining dramatically. All African great apes are classified either as endangered, that is mountain gorillas, bonobos, chimpanzees, or critically endangered, that would be cross river gorillas or western lowland gorillas and western chimpanzees on the IUCN Red List of threatened species, and all are regarded as flagship species for conservation. Moving on, we have the topic of race. Now this comes under sociocultural anthropology. Now race, the idea that the human species is divided into distinct groups on the basis of inherited physical and behavioral differences. So that is the idea basically, that human species can be divided into groups or categorized into races based on inherited physical and behavioral differences. Genetic study in the late 20th century refuted the existence of biogenetically distinct races. And scholars now argue that races are cultural interventions reflecting specific attitudes and beliefs that were imposed on different populations in the wake of Western European conquests beginning in the 15th century. The modern meaning of the term race with reference to human beings began to emerge in the 17th century. Since then, this term has had a variety of meanings in the languages of Western world. What most definitions have in common is an attempt to categorize people primarily on the basis of the physical differences. Such distinctive features are associated with large, geographically separated populations, and these continental aggregates are also designated as races, as the African race, the European race, and the Asian race. Although most people continue to think of races as physically distinct populations, scientific advances in 20th century demonstrated that human physical variations do not fit in the racial model. Instead, human physical variations tend to overlap. There are no genes that can identify distinct groups that accord with the conventional race categories. In fact, DNA analysis have proved that all humans have much in common, all human beings have much more in common genetically than they have differences. The genetic difference between any two humans is less than 1%. Moreover, geographically widely separated populations vary from one another in about 6 to 8% only of their genes. Because of the overlapping of traits that bear no relationship on one another, that is such as skin color and hair texture, and the inability of scientists to cluster the people into discrete racial packages, modern researchers have concluded that the concept of race has no biological validity. Moving on, synthetic biology. So here we have 3 subtopics that we'll be looking into, 1, 2 and 3. So first one, engineered CRISPR enzymes. Scribe Therapeutics is a biotechnology startup that is producing therapeutics using custom engineered CRISPR enzyme technology. The team at Scribe Therapeutics has designed its XE technology, that is X editing technology, XE technology, by evolving the native CRISPR gene editing enzymes available to us to redesign and engineer them to suit different needs. Next one, we have the stem cell derived immunotherapies. The Notch Therapeutics was founded to develop immune cell therapies against pre-cancer cells. Now the company's cell therapies are based on induced pluripotent stem cells, iPSC they are called, which are pre-differential cells with the limited capacity to transform into different mature cell lines. Now based on its ETN, that is the engineered thymic niche, platform, the company is developing universally compatible stem cell derived immune cell therapies. Coming to the reprogramming cell, Massachusetts-based Bit.bio is a synthetic biology startup that's working on merging the world of coding with biology, with the ability to program mammalian stem cells. Has been has been around since 1981. While the ability to program mammalian stem cells has been around since 1981, the company claims it can consistently reprogram our human adult cells into stem cells and then transform them into other mature human cells within days. Currently, the stem cell technology, the stem cell technology produces a statistical mixed bag of mature differential cells, some of which can have potential side effects. So that's about it. So that's about it for today's lecture. Hope you found it informative.